Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand, and it's the news none of us wanted that really does destroy Erik ten Hag's summer transfer window plans. The greedy Glazers have done what they've done and we shouldn't be surprised. This is who they are. 17 years of running this club into the ground, 17 years of putting their pocket before anything else, and they've only gone and done it again. News coming in this evening from good sources that there'll be a third round of bidding from the prospective buyers for Manchester United, and crushingly, these bids do not need to be in for 3 weeks. They will not need to be in until the end of the month, which means it'll be the middle of May before we even get an idea of what the next process is going to be. The transfer window opens 2 weeks after that. Say goodbye to the summer transfer window. It's not going to be what it could have been under new owners. This journey we're on, if we are about to go on a new journey, simply isn't going to start until next summer, because by the time we get these new owners in, this summer transfer window is gone. Jude Bellingham's just about to announce where he's going. People are talking about, will we get Kane and this? Wake up. It's over. This summer transfer window is gone. Ten Hag knows it, you know it, I know it. It's gone, and it's gone again because the Glazers have ruined it. We're going to get into that over a little bit over the next bit, and also Ten Hag's been talking about a few other bits as well. But before we get into all of that, we are sponsored by Boohoo Man on the show. Justin Hicks, welcome to the Members Club. I'm wearing my Boohoo Man hoodie, as you can see. Spring and summer is coming, so what better time to get yourself some Boohoo Man active wear, whether you're down the gym, chilling around in the living room, watching United Stand, or doing a bit of five-a-side, whatever. Boohoo Man is all about looking good and feeling great, and you can get yours through the link in the description or by scanning the QR code. But more importantly, as Boohoo Man is sponsoring the show, it's time for a little bit of, I think we need it as well, a bit of United trivia. And we're going to talk about an ex-United player that you need to guess, referring to the Boohoo Man clues here. So, I was born on the 21st of October 1981. I made the move to Manchester United from Spartak Moscow in 2006 for 7 million. During my time at United, I won Premier League 5 times, the League Cup 3 times, and the Champions League once. My partnership with Rio Ferdinand is widely considered to be one of the greatest defensive partnerships United have ever had. Who am I? Well, I don't think it's going to take a lot, and I can see a lot of the name Vidic in the chat. So congratulations to everyone who got that. And as a thank you, Boohoo Man has provided United Stand viewers with a special discount for this video. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and use the code Goldbridge to get an additional 10% off at Boohoo Man. The discount excludes certain items, sale items, and a big thank you to Boohoo Man for supporting the show. Check that out. But look, we're going to fly straight in. Big thanks to Boohoo Man, of course, but I'm not in a good place about this, to be honest with you, and I can't spin a positive. Luke says, was it Nanny? If you know, you know. You can't spin a positive about this. I'm sorry. Wake up and smell the coffee. I feel like I told you so, and I think some people are the same as me. When we heard about this sale back in November, I couldn't logically see how we were going to get it done before the summer transfer window, but there was a path. There was a path. Choose a buyer, work with them until the end of March, get them in by the start of June. What the Glazers have done, and I don't even blame the Rain Group. I think this is not what the Rain Group, who are meant to be sorting this sale, would want. I think this is just pure greed. There was never meant to be 3 rounds of bidding. When you look at it, and let me just read you the latest. So this is coming in from Mike Keegan in the Daily Mail, who's been very good around the sale. Confirmed, a 3rd round of bids for Man United is set to take place. Fresh offers are due before the end of the month. The 3rd round of bids for Man United means there will have to be rapid progress for a new owner to be in place for the forthcoming transfer window. Well, forget that update from Mike Keegan about rapid progress. I was speaking to somebody about half an hour ago, and they said, forget it. Forget it. Forget the summer transfer window. Whatever United do, will be a bonus, because your summer transfer window is screwed. Any plans you had for getting number 1 targets up front, midfield, centre-back, Kim Min-jae, forget it. Forget it. Forget what you were looking at. Forget De Jong. Forget all that. You're screwed. There's no money. The Glazers don't want to spend any money. They may well buy Harry Kane, and they'll spin that out all summer, and then they'll get the new buyer to pay for it anyway. This summer transfer window will be very disappointing for Ten Hag. I can also tell you, breaking news, this is coming through from people close to the club. Massive disappointment coming out of the club tonight. They didn't expect a third round of bids. They were hoping that the Glazers were going to piss off and get out and actually allow the club to move forward. Real disappointment from a lot of people in the club who've worked really hard with their backs against the wall this season to get Man United back in the Champions League, make the Glazers money. You know, no spending in January. Ten Hag, his staff, these players have worked miracles to get United in the position they're in. And the Glazers have sat there yet again, just like they did with the Super League a few years ago at this time of the year, completely misread the room, completely shat on their staff and their fans, and are just sat there trying to make money again. And one source said to me, this has got a very reminiscent feeling of the Super League with many people within the football club, where they feel they've been shat on from a great height on pure greed. So whatever you're feeling as a fan, I can tell you there's people in the club who feel just as let down. They felt that this summer was going to be one of momentum, a new page, a new start. The Glazers, whether they get 4 billion, 5 billion or 6 billion, are getting 4 billion, 5 billion, 6 billion too much than they deserve. Really was an expectation that they would just go and allow this club to start anew. No, they won't do it. They won't do it. There's an offer on the table that many people think is very, very generous. They will not work with it. They want more. And they are so selfish and so greedy. They don't care about Ten Hag. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the players. They don't care about the staff that have worked loyally for them for years. All they care about is whether they can make a little bit more money. And there is even rumours tonight that the Rain Group, who are advising the Glazers, have advised them not to do what is about to be done now, which is a third round of bids. But the Glazers want to do it because they want more money. And that's where we're at. Absolutely devastating to Ten Hag's summer transfer plans. And that if people don't understand that, let's just work through a very quick timeline. Man United was basically put up for sale in November. By the end of January, everybody had their first bids at the end of January. We're 3 months later, and they're doing another round of bids. January, February, March, April. 3 months later, 4 months of bidding. We're nowhere where we were. No, we're no further forward than where we were on January the 1st. We're in the same position. Again, I was talking to somebody half an hour ago, and they said, look, technically, your club is not any further forward than it was at the start of January, because the bids haven't been accepted. Nothing's moving forward. And he said the Glazers are sat there like this, feet up, just waiting. They're not bothered. They don't care. And I suppose the most important thing is that what does this mean for the summer transfer window? Well, if you're tuning in a little bit late, Manchester United, the Glazers, have announced that there'll be a third round of bids, and they don't want those bids to come in till the end of the month. They'll assess them through May, and then there might be another round of bids in June. Well, the summer transfer window's opened, but I suppose there may well be, and I'm searching in the chat, and lots of very accurate comments in the chat. Parasite's out. Ryan says he spotted it in a mile away. David says get them out of our club. Lucy says blame the fans who keep going and spending money on the club. But I think that the simple way to explain this, because there may well be somebody somewhere, I can't see anyone in our chat, but there might be somebody on Twitter or something who goes, oh, I'm not actually that worried about it. People are just being over dramatic. Let's just spell it out why I am worried. And remember, I mentioned this, I mentioned it from the start, but I did say it a couple of weeks ago, and we spoke about it on Sunday night, funnily enough. This is bad. This is bad. We've already run out of time now. It was going to be tight anyway, but we've already run out of time. The minute they announce a third round of bids, we're screwed. What's our budget if the Glazers are still in charge, says Preston? Well, that's going to sort of feed in. Thanks for the super chats tonight. By all means, get them in. We'll read them out. But let me just go through this. So basically, it's 11th of April, but forget that. This is one time we can move into the future. So let's say by the 30th of April, there'll be another round of bids go in from Althani and Sir Jim. So basically, we can move into the future with this sale because they don't want any more bids in till the end of the month. So that takes us to the end of April, yeah? At the end of April, they'll take a week or so, at least. They took 2 weeks this time, so let's say 2 weeks. That'll be the 14th of May before they announce what happens next. That's the middle of May before they announce what happens next. So in the middle of May, we'll be where we are now. What's happening next? At that point, they might move forward with a final bidder. Even if they announce in the middle of May they're moving forward with Sir Jim or El Thani, how the bloody hell can you move forward with signings for the start of June? Because they've not bought the club. That you're just then going into the due diligence and legalities, etc., etc. So, at best case scenario, I mean, it's gone, really. We for the next month, Sir Jim, Al Thani, and anybody else think they've got a chance of buying Man United. We're just not where we needed to be for the summer transfer window. We needed to know what our budget was now so we can speak to players, agents and clubs over the next few weeks about buying people. We can't do that. So the impact on the summer transfer window is this. Erik ten Hag has probably said to John Murtagh and Richard Arnold, I want this striker, I want this midfielder, I want this centre-back, and I want this right-back, and I want this goalkeeper. They're my 5 players, £250 million. I want you to sell this player, this player, this player, this player, this player, £100 million. That's my summer. Go and do it. 5 in, 5 out. That's my list. That's my number 2 targets. They're the players I want to go. So Ten Hag has probably done that. Richard Arnold and John Murtagh, in fairness, can do nothing. Nothing. Because they don't know what their budget is. And also, we can't move forward until we know what's happening with the sale. So if you want Ramos from Benfica, good luck. Because Benfica will say, have you got the money? No. And Ramos's agent will say, what's the wage? Don't know. Okay, we're going to Newcastle. Or we're going to PSG. And that's what's going to happen because players are talking to clubs now. Players and agents are talking to clubs now. We can't. The good question is, what do you think the budget is under the Glazers? There will be a budget. There will be a budget, and that budget is rumoured to be about 100 million quid. Nothing more. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a prediction here, and if anybody wants to clip this and keep it till the end of August, let's see if it actually happens. We are staring down the barrel of a Glazers summer because they're not going to sell the club quick enough. I predict a Glazers summer, for the first time ever, will play perfectly into their hands because they will release about 100 million quid, but they will not spend it until the end of August because they will target the player they can't get until the end of August. The Glazers like to buy people at the end of the market because if you buy somebody at the start of July, you're paying their wages in July and August. You're paying your transfer payments in July and August. If you buy a player at the end of August, you don't pay their wages for 2 months and you don't pay the first payment for 2 months. What one player will take that budget up and tick those boxes? It's going to be a Harry Kane summer and very little else, and that's it. We're going to be going on tour without new signings. We're going to be starting the season without our main signing. You can see it coming a mile off, and it's so soul destroying because it's not the summer that Erik ten Hag wants. It's not. He wanted a summer that was really progressive and aggressive and ruthless. He's had a year at the club. He wanted to clear 5, 6, 7, 8 players out and bring 5 new ones in with the mentality to take us forward. His vision next season is to build on this very good season and challenge for the title and the Champions League. Very little chance of that happening in a Glazer summer. To be honest, Mark, I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing all this deliberately to piss off the fans because they resent us now, says Darry. Well, you know, there's a couple of the Glazers that probably don't want to go. But it always comes down to the same thing, doesn't it? What power do we have as fans? Absolutely none. There is no regulation that is going to help us. There is no cohesion that's going to make any change. We are sat there, you know, we're sort of like, you know, that film Oliver, aren't we, when he wants a bit more porridge? We're sort of like going, please, sir, please leave. And they're like, piss off, we'll go when we want. Do you think the Glazers are waiting to see if we get Champions League, thinking that will increase the price? Daryl, I mean, I just don't think there's a deadline. I never felt there was a deadline. I think this is about getting as much money as they can. If they can get it in a month or they can get it in 6 months, they'll wait. They're just going to keep waiting. Whoever buys the club needs to pay an extra $1 billion to clear the debt, $7 billion to buy the club total when they spend pennies for it, criminal. Kevin, all I can say to everybody at the moment is I feel sick with rage at where we are. You know, and I haven't felt like this probably since they announced they were going to sell. But I think there's a stark realisation tonight as to just where we are and who owns this football club. They've got a grip on us It's like a cancer. It is. And it's a stark realisation that, this is a bad situation and there is no cure at this moment in time. They are killing this football club for their own benefit. They're a cancer to this football club and they're eating it up. And there is no the thing I despise about the Glazers more than anything is there's no good in them in relation to Manchester United. Like most bad things, there is an angle where you go, I can sort of see that. I can there is a little, they're bad, but they've got a little bit of good in them. They are a complete and utter cancer to this football club. Look at Old Trafford, it's rusting and rotting. Look at everything that's happened over the last 17 years, the dividends, the debt that just keeps on growing. And now look at it. It's like with Ten Hag, the club's gone into remission. We've responded to this horrible disease and it looks positive and it looks like we're finally going to get rid of it. And then they've come back again and said, no, we're not going anywhere. It's so soul destroying, like I say, because we won't get this summer back. We're here for a good time, not a long time. We will not get this summer back. And as I said, I know for a fact there are people within Manchester United tonight who are as furious as you are. The plans that they've got in place around Ten Hag and what he wants to do, they know that they're massively, massively jeopardised. Mark, do you think with the Althani Radcliffe we will spend heavily in the winter transfer window? Glazers again destroying a season. Tony, I almost don't want to read that. Thank you very much for the super chat. Eric, thank you very much for yours as well. What difference does it make spending big in the summer transfer window? You've got to spend in the summer. You've got to sell in the summer. That's what you've got to do. Head Red says, bloody hell, it's not that bad. Mate, maybe Man United's not that important to you. People died playing for this football club. This football club's a religion to some people. If you don't think the situation's not that bad, go and walk your dog. Go and watch EastEnders. Like, it is that bad. They are a cancer to this football club. I stand by that. I don't care. That word's a horrible word. Of course it is. But the reality is, in a footballing sense, they are a disease that is killing this football club. What is a disease that kills people? That's what they are to this football club. Absolutely, always, absolutely. It's been used by many people over the years, and that's exactly what they are. Call them for what they are. They are totally and utterly focused on greed. There is no part of them that cares about this football club other than the bank balance. They don't care. Every fan who was at Wembley booing Avram Glazer deserves a bloody medal. Because he wasn't there because we were playing Newcastle or winning in a trophy. He's got a vacant look and a smile that says, I'm a bloody prat. I've got no idea about football. The only thing he's smiling about is thinking, ooh, are we going to get in the Champions League and make a bit of bloody money? It's the thing that makes them so soul destroying is that we're sat here tonight, and I'd love to be able to say, you know what, they're waiting and they're doing a third round of bids because actually there's a really good reason for it. There's no reason for it. There are people willing to pay them and a great point as well. Chris White, welcome to the Members Club. Can I just give a shout out to Paul Woolley, who's gifted 5 memberships as well. What a legend you are. Thank you very much, Paul. Sean from Ireland says, hope bids go down, might as well be October now, says Sean. And okay, I'll settle for small joys in the summer then. Phil Jones won't be on the payroll, says Mott. But you know what? The scenario is just about money. That's all it's about, money. Nothing else. But the mad situation is they've got an offer on the table for £5 billion. They won't clear the debt. So it's basically £6 billion. Because the Glazers will go, well, the debt's part of the club. No, you put the debt there. There was no debt. That £1 billion of debt is you. You put it there. You put it there. To borrow against the club or to take dividends out. You put the billion there. So that's £6 billion you're getting from a £5 billion bid. Still not enough. Still not enough. The offer is right. Anybody you speak to in sports finance and business will tell you £5 billion for Manchester United when you've got to take on the debt is more than it's worth. And they still want more. There is no angle here other than greed. Greed. And we are powerless to do anything about it. It's sickening, absolutely sickening. You know, the bids from Al Thani and Sir Jim are rumoured to be around £5 billion. None of them are going to suddenly go there 6. They're going to go 5.2, aren't they? So, you know, for what? £200 million. That's what they want. They want another £200 million on top of the £5 billion and the £1 billion of debt that they're going to leave the club in. It's just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. If somebody'd offered $2 billion for the club and it was worth 3, I'd understand it. They're getting more than they deserve anyway. I'll be going to San Diego, screaming Glazers out, says David. Chris White, we've done that one. And Rui says, hi Mark, if the Glazers stay, do you think Erik Ten Hag will start to get fed up and eventually look for another club after next season, says Rui. Look, I don't think Sir Jim Radcliffe's going to pull out. I don't think Al Thani's going to pull out. And I don't think Ten Hag's going to suddenly get fed up with things and walk away. That's not, you know, we're not going to walk away. You're not going to walk away. That's not what's going to happen here. What's going to happen here is that people are just depressed and fed up again. I would love that share price to plummet tonight. I'd love it to plummet because that has happened before. I would love the fans to be able to do something that would just completely make the Glazers shit themselves, but I don't know what that is. I genuinely don't know. We're being dictated to here by Ten Hag and the players that are defying the odds and the fans that are enjoying defying the odds, but in a way that feeds the Glazers. I said this 2 months ago. You know what, if Ten Hag had produced the season I think many of us thought he would, which was progress but small progress, I don't think, you know, imagine if we'd been knocked out of all the cups and we were 5th. So it's another year of Europa League football. I think they would have sold the club by now. I do. I think the sickening thing is, because we want success, and Erik Ten Hag has been fantastic, I actually think this success is making them get more greedy. I think they're going, well, we'll have qualified for the Champions League soon. That's another $500 million we want. We'll have won another trophy by the end of May. That's another $500 million we want. I think the success is driving their greed. I think that they think, because they're so thick, basically, because they've got no knowledge of football, they probably think Ten Hag's the next Sir Alex. So they probably think that Ten Hag's going to start winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues with no money. So they're probably thinking, oh, you know what, let's keep driving the price up. Horrible, horrible situation. And of course, you know what? Some people wanted a new director of football this summer. Some people wanted a new CEO. It's another summer of the same people. But mark my words, and remember this. I think the summer we've got is the dream for the Glazers. They don't need to spend any money until the last day of August when they give Spurs 100 million for Kane. That'll be their big outlay. So it's going to, unfortunately, it's going to be a long, cruel summer under the Glazers again, because we're not going to get this new owner in. And I you know, it's funny. I was just looking at Twitter there. Somebody was saying, "Oh, it's not that bad. We'll still get the signings we want." They've got absolutely no idea, have they? This ain't Football Manager where you you load it up and just go and get what you want with a cheat code. Players are going to sign for clubs that can afford them. We can't afford them because we haven't got a budget. It'll be a very limited budget. I'd argue this is going to have a catastrophic impact on selling players as well, because the Glazers have their asset lists, and I don't think they'll want to sell or disrupt that either. So I can see a situation where the Glazers just say to Ten Hag and John Murta and Richard Arnold, look, the club's up for sale. We don't want mass expenditure, and we don't want people being sold either, because we're selling the club as a going concern. We don't want to start selling players and buying loads of players. So I can see a very similar situation to January. Maybe we'll give Bayern 25 million for Sabitzer and Harry Kane, and that'll be it. Why does no one talk about the interest rate dropping back to minimum levels? Has started. This means they can refinance the debt and keep the club. The pound's getting stronger than the dollar, says Lee. And Mark, if I get a free membership, do I get a free hoodie, says Paul. McFred, again next season, says Larry. I don't want to delve into stuff like that, but it's a very depressing scenario that we might be facing because of this. And I can't dress it up any other way. Rash says, dooming... Oh, here we go. He's an idiot, Rash. And look, I know that sounds really horrible, but everyone knows Rash is an idiot. And no surprise, it's an idiotic comment. doom and gloom, but you expect Kane to sign. That's an 8 out of 10 window. We can't expect the world. It's literally, that rash person literally is Ed Woodward, Richard Arnold, John Murtagh, or the Glazers. Like, literally you are. Oz said, Mark Keegan, updated article, third round is the final round. Apologies if you already covered this, says Oz. But do you believe it's the third round? I haven't covered that because I don't believe it. I don't believe it's the final round. We were told the second round was the final round and then they'd go with a preferred bidder. Now the third round's the final round. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. So you can believe that if you want to, but we were definitely told the second round was the last round and then we go to a final bidder, meaning that they'd be working with a final bidder. They've now gone to the fourth. Deadline is the April the 28th, so we're 2 weeks away from the deadline. I really do feel quite sick inside about it. It's so, as I say, soul destroying and sad that this is being dragged out because of a few greedy people who've got no interest in this football club. None at all. None at all. But yeah, get your comments in with your thoughts. I mean, I'm very interested to see what you think. Preferred bidder after this round, and that's not a given, says Tabasco. Like I say, I hope the share price plummets. I hope the price goes down. Top Play says it'll all be over by June the 30th. I mean, I don't know whether you've ever been part of a sale of anything, but even when they announced who the final preferred bidder is going to be, I think people think that they're going to walk into the club in late May. No, that's not how it works. That is not how it works at all. Yeah, I think the summer transfer window is broken. What if we can salvage something from it? Good, but I think it's very clear that the summer transfer window is broken. And as I said, whether that's my opinion or not, I know for a fact there's people in the club tonight who are really pissed off and feel very let down because they see it for what you see it as. You know, these people are... Look, think about it from Erik ten Hag's point of view. Very intelligent man, worked his arse off, wants a legacy like he did at Ajax, wants to build something as quick as possible and be as successful for as long as possible. You know, defies logic in his first season, ridiculously successful, still ongoing now. You know, wants to build for next season, gets this news tonight, fuming. Like, how am I supposed to work in this situation? A year ago, was in an interview where I was told the plan for this football club. And now I'm sat here with the handbrake on, having defied logic in my first season. I've now got the handbrake on because, why? Because of greed. Because 5 billion's not enough. Because they want 5.25 or 5.5 or 6. So everybody, the fans, the players, the manager, the staff, we've all just got to wait because they want a little bit more money. It's not the fans who are just moaning about this. The media know it. Ex-players know it. You know it. Ten Hag knows it. His staff knows it. People in the club know it. This club is now got a handbrake on because the people who own it are just trying to be greedy. So as frustrated as I am and as frustrated as many of you will be, trust me, there's a lot of frustration in that football club tonight because they're like, we are building a project. We are building something special and you are destroying it. Because the one constant in football is when you've got momentum, don't stop because you might never get it back again. And that's the concern at United tonight is there's momentum, there is growth. And now we're going to go into a summer where we're going to go, well, we can't get what we want. Mark, say we get Qatar. Yeah, we finally get these guys out. Do you think some point in the future and for a cut price, says Ryan? I don't know, Ryan. I don't know what's going to happen now. Thank you very much to Paul Woolley, who gifted the 5 memberships. Sam says, why do local fans still go to matches? You're enabling the Glazers' behaviour by not doing anything. There should be protests every match day instead, says Sam. And Nosk, thank you very much for being a member for 9 months. Mojo's just gifted 10 memberships as well. Thank you very much to Mojo. If you get one, say thank you very much. Negotiating a deal to a nation that is trying to sports watch is different to standard negotiations. Yeah, Bambo, you're full of shit. I mean, I don't know what planet you're on, but it ain't Earth. What are you talking about? I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to call you out here. What are you talking about? What's Althani got to do with a third round of bids? What's Althani got to do with the Glazers not selling the club? So Jim's trying to buy the club. There's 2 or 3 other people trying to buy the club. What's it got to do with that? They're not negotiating with just Al Thani. They're not negotiating with anyone. They're asking for bids. They've not started to negotiate with anyone. So stop. You're talking shit, mate. You're talking like that's the reason the club's not been bought. When they're not negotiating with Qatar. They're not negotiating with Al Thani. This is the whole problem. The reason the summer transfer window will be screwed is because we don't know who will have. Even if we get sold, we don't know who's going to be in charge. They're not stopping Al Thani buying the club. They're stopping Sir Jim. They're stopping everybody else. They don't know who's buying the club at the moment. Or you know what? If the Elliott Group offer $6 billion, they're the new owners. That's what I mean. This is just about greed. There's no preferential bidder. They don't care who buys the club. I mean, this is old news because we spoke about it about 3 months ago. I think there's people in our fan base that think that this greed is just about trying to get the most money out of Al Thani. They don't give a shit who gives them the money. They'd sell us to bloody Scousers who wanted to burn it all down if it gave them $6 billion. And that's no disrespect to Scousers because they hate Man United and they hate, that's what they'd love to do. But they would sell us. They don't care who buys us. They don't care as long as they get $6 billion. That's all they want. We all thought last summer our budget was 120 million and we were wrong. What if that happens again? Says Shane. Yeah, but Shane, look, Shane, I think you're so irresponsible because you'll give thick people hope. What don't you understand, Shane, about the clubs up for sale? Why would the Glazers spend 300 million quid? We're £1 billion in debt. They're trying to sell the club. Why would they ever spend £300 million? Like, it just makes no sense, Shane. Oh, last summer's got nothing to do with this summer. If you think the Glazers are going to suddenly go, there's 250 million quid, you're not listening. You're not on the same page. That's not going to happen unless we get bought. Next season is going to be a hell of a battle. One of Arsenal or City licking their wounds. Liverpool and Chelsea with maybe only league to concentrate on, and Newcastle or Spurs building on getting the Champions League, says Glenn. It's good. Mate, I don't want to talk about that, but this is why it's really disappointing. Because this summer transfer window, I'm going to do it, aren't I? So there's loads of midfielders available. There's loads of strikers available. It's going to be a really competitive market. And I thought we were going to be in a situation where we had the money to compete. Take that away. Loads of competition, loads of players available in midfield and attack. What do you end up with when you can't compete? Get these Americans out of our club, says Anthony. Asin, welcome to the Members Club, and Ryan Bowen as well. Thank you very much for that. The hardest thing for me is that there's so many good players available this summer, and we're not going to be in the race for hardly any of them because we're not. Our big spend will be Harry Kane, and that won't happen till the end of August. So look at last summer. We're not in any rush. We've got our targets lined up. We're not in any rush. And that's what we had all through June and July. And we're going to get it again. Because they're not going to spend much. And most of it will be spent on Harry Kane at the end of August. So we're going to have a very long, frustrating summer transfer window where we end up with Harry Kane. And I'm not saying Harry Kane's a bad signing. He's a world-class striker, but he ain't going to happen until the end of August. And we're just going to see Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, buy. And it could be buy to our hopes next season if we just sit there and watch. And as I say, Ten Hag will be massively frustrated tonight because he'll be going, right, so I want a striker, but I also want a midfielder. De Jong, no chance. Casido, no chance. Declan Rice, no chance. Manu Kone, no chance. Because they're all going to go to other clubs. You can't buy a £100 million striker and buy any of those midfielders as well unless you've got about 160 million. And of course, you can raise money from sales, but those sales could take until the middle of August. Everything's just going to get pushed back. It's going to be like Chelsea's transfer window last year, where by the time you release the money, everyone else has already spent. So Mike Keegan is saying that the deadline is April the 28th. Third round is the final round. Separate deadline next week relating to due diligence. Still view full sale most likely outcome. Yeah, look, I don't think... And look, have I said tonight the Glazers aren't going to sell? I've always said I think they're going to sell. That's not the question here. The question is that why is it taking so long? Greed. And I'm sorry, I think Mike Keegan's been brilliant in relation to his reporting, but just in third round in the Man United takeover process is the final round. Why would you believe that? Can I take you back to November and December and January? Just in, Man United are up for sale and deal is expected to be done by the end of the first quarter. That was March. Just in, Manchester United will go through a second round of bids and then move forward with a preferred bidder. So, look, maybe we'll get third time lucky here, but we weren't sold by the end of March, which is what we were told by The Athletic and everybody else. The second round of bids wasn't the last round of bids, like we were told by The Telegraph and The Mail and everyone else. So, excuse me if I say, well, I don't believe this is the final round of bids either, because we've been lied to 2 or 3 times already. And I say lied to, I don't think those journalists are lying. I don't think the Rain Group are lying. I think the Glazers have lied to everyone as per usual and changed the goalposts. So I'm not going to get optimistic about a 28th of April deadline for third bids, because when those bids go in on the 28th of April, however many there are, 3, 4, 5, 6, it'll be 2 weeks before they decide what they do. It'll be the middle of May before they decide what to do. What's 2 weeks after the middle of May, the start of the start of the summer transfer window? How can you be equipped for a summer transfer window when 2 weeks before it opens, you don't know who your bloody owner is yet? It is what it is. You can polish a turd if you want to, but it's shit. It's a really shit situation. I don't know how anybody can get positive about, well, it's the final bids at the end of April, and then they'll take a couple of weeks to choose somebody, and then it'll be in the middle of May, and then, you know, maybe we'll get the owners in at some point. Well, yeah, summer's gone. Summer is gone. It's a shame. Anyway, look, I've got to go because I've got to do the watch along on That's Football. But I'm not happy. Not happy about it. Ten Hag's definitely not happy about it. Summer transfer window plans for Manchester United, as many people predicted, are in disarray with this greedy decision. And let's be honest, the only person you're arguing about, if you think this is good news, the only reason this is happening is because of greed. The Glazers want a little bit more money. They haven't had enough, have they? They haven't had enough. They didn't buy a club for nothing and walk away with a $5 billion profit, all the hundreds of millions of pounds they've had in debt. It's not like they haven't had enough already. No, they want a little bit more. Let's have a little bit more. Anyway, thanks everyone who's tuned in live. Get your comments in below, and I'm going to go and watch Man City Bayern and try and not think about this for a couple of hours and just watch some football. I'll see you over there in a bit. Thanks for watching.